Hi there, welcome once again to Legacy Finance. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about one of the major problems that most workers face out there, and that is the issue of living from paycheck to paycheck. Did you know that about 80% of the working class are living from paycheck to paycheck? Did you also know that about 60% of the working class do not have up to 5,000 saved up as an emergency fund? Did you also know that most workers by the middle of the month are always struggling to meet their financial obligations? If you answered yes to any of these questions, chances are that you are among the class that is living from paycheck to paycheck. There is nothing really shameful about living from paycheck to paycheck. It is a worldwide crisis and a lot of people are living in it. However, in this video, I'll be showing you that there is a way out of it. There is hope for those who are struggling in this kind of situation. And that is the purposes of this video. And if you are new to this channel, Legacy Finance is all about personal investments, entrepreneurship, and personal finance. We basically help you to acquire more money, build wealth, and then achieve financial independence within the shortest possible time. So if you are interested in content like that, you may consider subscribing to this channel so that you can get regular updates of things like that. Now, back to the main focus of this video. How to stop living from paycheck to paycheck. As I stated earlier, millions of people out there are really living from paycheck to paycheck. So I'll outline 7 steps that you can take to get out of this situation. The first thing that you have to do if you really want to get out of this situation is to first of all acknowledge the issue at hand. To accept that this is the crisis that you are in. You are in a situation where you are living from paycheck to paycheck. Now, acknowledging the problem does this for you. It puts you at the center of the problem. It throws the responsibility back to you. In this case, you are not shifting blame onto government, the economy, or even your employer. Once you shift focus to these people, it means that they are in charge of the situation and they are the only ones who can solve it, and you are only just a victim to the whole situation. So acknowledging it will put you at the center of the issue and position you in a way that you can really solve the problem at hand. So that is the first thing that you have to do if you really want to get out of the situation. Accept that that is the crisis that you are in. Now, after accepting that that is the crisis that you are in, then we can talk about the next step that you should do if you really want to get out of it. And that second step is what I call budgeting. Budgeting. Now, I know that I am someone who is a strong advocate of automating things. I do not believe in sitting with a paper and pen to do things manually. However, in this case scenario, budgeting has become one of the very useful things that you can do to really get out of the crisis. So you have to sit down with paper and pen and list all your expenditure for a given month and the price tags that goes with all these expenses. Once you do this, you'll be able to know how much you are spending in a given month. So let's say that you are earning 5,000 and at the end of the month you do your budget and you are spending 5,001. It means that you are spending more than what you are earning, and definitely this will put you in a position where you'll be living from paycheck to paycheck. The budget will also inform you of your needs and your necessities and your wants, and which ones you are giving more priority to. So from the budget, you will know how much is going into wants and how much is going into needs. And needs generally are things that you can streamline your expenses on, and it will affect the overall quality of your life. However, the ones you can streamline on them and it will not affect the overall quality of your life. The most important needs for me are 1. Shelter, 2. Transportation, 3. Utilities, and then 4. Food. If you are able to take care of these things in your budget, all other things can be considered as wants. So from the budget, you can cut down on some of the ones that you have been spending on. So that is the second step that I want you to take if you really want to get out of this whole situation. Now, after you have done this and you have decided to cut down on some of your wants, then you can decide to go on to the next step that I'll talk about. And that has to do with trying to live below your means. The next thing that I want you to do is to try to live below your means. Chances are that we buy certain things just so that we can please certain people in society who do not really care about us. Some of the things we buy, they are just a show off. You just buy them so that you can measure up to some status quo in society or to please some people. But at the very core of it, you are the only one who knows what you really need and how many things you can really afford in a month. Do not try to please anybody. Do not use anybody as a benchmark for yourself in society. Try to live below your means. Most of the rich people, this is something that they do. They do not buy fancy things. They do not go about buying fancy cars or buying luxury houses just so that they can measure up to some status quo in society. So if you really want to get out of the paycheck to paycheck situation, then you have to try to live below your means. Doing this will free up a lot of space for you so that you can save more of your money instead of buying luxuries and other show-off items. So that is the third thing that you can do if you really want to get out of this situation. Now the next thing you can do is, now that you have acknowledged that that is the situation you are in, you have done your budgeting, you've tried to cut down on some wants, you have decided to also try to live below your means. The next thing that I want you to now do is to adopt a practice that has been preached over and over again. But truth is that many of us find it very difficult to implement this practice. And that is the practice of pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. It is something that has been preached for over hundreds of years, yet it becomes very difficult to implement. I am a strong advocate of the principle of pay yourself first. Truth is that you go out there as early as 5 o'clock, you prepare and go to work, then you come back as late as 6 o'clock, sometimes 7 o'clock in the evening. Yet once you get paid, it is the government that takes its fair share through taxes. Then your pensions and retirement funds will also take some. Then for most of us, the next thing on the list is our utilities and our other responsibilities. One of the most critical aspects to leave out is the very self, you the one who is out there working. So I always advocate that you pay yourself not less than 10% of what you are earning. Once you begin to adopt this practice, you see that it brings some kind of satisfaction to you, knowing very well that at the end of every month, you have money sitting somewhere for you as a worker. So that is the fourth thing that I want you to put into action. And I'm sure that if you're able to follow through from step 1 to step 4, you begin to see the effectiveness of this method that I am talking about. I know most people will only follow through with step 1 alone and step 2. Because some people, once they do the budgeting and they see that they are really spending so much, they are really afraid to come to realization that this is what their money is really going into. So let's say that you've gotten to the 4th step. Now the 5th step is about paying off your debts. Chances are that you are living from paycheck to paycheck because 1, either you are spending more than you are earning, 2, either you are borrowing more than you are earning, or your capital returns at the end of the month is not just enough for you. So if it is that you are borrowing more than you are earning, then you have to deal with this aspect of your life. You have to start paying off your debts. And paying off your debt shouldn't be rocket science. There are many methods that you can use to really pay off your debt. You can decide to use what they call the snowball method, which talks about you paying the smallest debts first, so that once you start paying the smallest debts, it gives you that motivation, that encouragement to continue paying the other debts as well. Some people also advocate that you use the avalanche method, where you have to start paying off the debts that have the highest interest on you, so that it will stop you from paying all the interest that these debts are incurring on you. So it shouldn't be rocket science. You can decide that you use either of these methods, and once you start paying off your debts, it will do the following things for you. 1, it gives you that peace of mind, so that you know that you do not owe anybody. You can have that peace of mind to relax in the night. You can have that peace of mind to think of other things in your life. Paying off your debts will also give you respect in society and in the eyes of the people that you owe money. And in addition to this, paying off your debts will also free up enough space for you to have enough to now save after that. Alright, so this is how important this step is, paying off your debts. So once you have done these 5 steps, then we can talk about the 6th step. The 6th step is something that I've observed a lot of youth doing, and it's something that I strongly believe that it's something that will not advance you financially. And that has to do with the issue of you have to stop certain financial practices. And in this case, I want to narrow down onto probability or lucky-based games that a lot of youth invest their monies into. Take for instance, soccer bet or the lottery game. This is something that has gained a lot of hype in recent years, and a lot of youth are investing their monies into this. If you take the Ludo die, for instance, if you throw it and you are hoping that you get the number 1 out of the 6 options, it means that your chance of obtaining 1 is 1/6 or 16% in terms of percentages. However, your chances that it will not turn out to be a 1 is 5/6, or in other words, 83%. This clearly shows that your chances of losing, which is 83%, against your chances of winning, which is just 16%. It clearly means that all the odds are against you and things are in favor of the game owner. So why would you want to be investing your money in things that are clearly against you in terms of odds? So I strongly advise that you should stop these practices. It's possible that it's these practices that are draining your resources, making it difficult for you to save enough and keeping you in that kind of rat race where you are always living from paycheck to paycheck. So once you stop some of these practices, it will set you up for financial prosperity. The next thing that I want you to stop doing is picking on more loans. Picking on more loans. Chances are that you are in this situation because you have taken some loans from the bank or some friends, and you are paying these monies back, and it is keeping the amount you have at the end of the month very low. Why then would you want to go and pick an additional loan such that your home take will reduce further again? It's like you are in a hole, and you, instead of trying to get out of the hole, you are rather digging more into the hole. So you have to stop borrowing more from friends or taking more loans from the bank. These are 2 financial practices that I strongly advocate that you should stay away from if you are really serious about getting out of this paycheck to paycheck situation. In the long run, you'll be very grateful that you are paying off your debts and you are not taking more debts. You are not involving yourself in lucky or probability games like soccer bet or lottery games. Then the next thing that I want you to do after doing all this is, after you have paid yourself the 10% as money that for working every day, what I want you to do is to start investing that money. Start investing that money as early as possible so that you can take advantage of a miracle formula they call compound interest. Now, if you are someone who has been watching my videos, you will realize that I'm a strong advocate of compound interest. If you have not yet watched my video on how to create $1 million worth of inheritance for your child, you can go to the site and simply watch that video. It will educate you on how compound interest works and how you can use just 6 years of savings to generate over $1 million worth of inheritance for your child. That video is very informative, and it's something that I encourage everyone to try and watch. So I advocate that the 10% that you are saving, you start investing it as early as possible so that you can take advantage of compound interest. This is money that will grow over time, and it will eventually take you out of living from paycheck to paycheck. Now, as I stated earlier on, for staying up to the end of this video, I'm going to provide an extra tip which is different from the 7 steps that I have listed. And this extra step is my thank you to is my way of saying thank you for staying up to the very end of this video. And that is, you have to find a support community or someone that you are accountable to in terms of your expenses. Now, this helps you in the sense that once you have someone you account to, it holds you responsible for how you manage your own money. Now, this doesn't have to be something so difficult. You can take your wife, for instance, as your accountable person. You can take a friend, a trusted friend, as someone that you account to. Or you can find a community of like-minded people who are struggling to get out of this situation so that you account to the community. It is my hope that you will find some of these tips that I've listed very useful and helpful so that it will help you get out of the paycheck to paycheck situation. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, Legacy Finance is all about personal finance, investments, and entrepreneurial development. We give you the tools, the ideas, so that you can create wealth, build wealth over time, and achieve early financial independence. And if you have gotten value out of this video, please remember to give it a like. By liking and subscribing to this channel, you are supporting us to grow the channel and to also create more valuable videos like this. Thank you very much for your time, and God richly bless you. Bye.